Thank you very much, Ricky, for the kind introduction, and also thanks to Anthony Monter and his colleagues at the Nanovic Institute for European Studies for inviting me to introduce tonight's film, In My Room, by German director Ulrich Köhler. What if you were the last person on Earth? Engaging with this question, Köhler's movie presents a revision of a familiar genre, the last man on Earth scenario. The first of the film's clearly defined three acts introduces us to protagonist Armin. It doesn't take long to establish that he is at a personal and professional dead end as he creeps reluctantly toward middle age. He's outgrowing his nightclubbing, his cramped, crummy bachelor apartment, and his spotty dating record, and is actively incompetent in his job as a news cameraman, as demonstrated in a terrific opening joke that teases the film's concern with negative narrative space, that is, the story that transpires in the lapses between critical events. An uneasy relationship with his father intensifies as his grandmother slowly withdraws from the living. Nothing in Armin's life is on the upswing, yet he doesn't have the energy to fight his way out of his despair. So, fate intervenes, whether exclusively for his benefit or not. Overnight, without warning or any explanation really, the world is apparently and inexplicably drained of all other human life. Cars are abandoned and off track in the streets, buildings sit fully intact but uninhabited, animals are suddenly free to roam through the world untended. Armin, understandably, takes some time to adjust to this baffling abandonment. When his attempt to drink his way through and out of this situation fails to change things, he comes to see this oddly calm catastrophe as a chance to reboot his life entirely. And following some Grand Theft Auto-style joyriding on deserted highways, he returns to the rural region of his childhood, creates a shelter, and really acquires more self-sufficiency in the space of a few months than he had in the first 40-odd years on the planet. And in the third section of the movie, perhaps inevitably, reveals that Armin is not entirely alone in the world. A young woman, Kirsty, drives her camper van into his neighborhood, and for at least a while, they live their lives together. I would like to share some possible interpretations with you that occur to me and that have been suggested by other experts of the film. And my hope is really that these thoughts will enrich your viewing of the movie and open up some constructive avenues of interpretation. I think that the metaphor of an empty earth and the last man is flexible enough to accommodate quite a few interpretations. Certainly, any German film in which millions go missing inevitably brings the Holocaust to mind, and the menorah on Armin's grandmother's piano is indeed suggestive. But I think this reading is reductive at best. More convincingly, I would like to suggest In My Room could be seen as a dialectical response to the current immigrant crisis in Europe, in that it shows xenophobes exactly what it is that they're asking for. Armin may have relatively advanced technology, but by the end, he is still alone in his castle, abandoned. A world without people means that certain basic human qualities, like grace, courtesy, sharing, welcoming, being a neighbor, and even just engaging with another person, become impossible. There's also often the assumption in end-of-humanity narratives that the last man and the last woman will naturally get together, either to repopulate the species or just out of desperation. Köhler, in this movie, undermines this imperative by having Kirsty choose to live on her own. In that sense, one could see In My Room as a way of displaying the most basic truth. Humanity without freedom for all is no longer humanity. It is a strong commentary then on the agency of women, their control over their bodies, and autonomy from patriarchal power structures. While Armin does what he can to dissuade Kirsty from leaving, even running her RV off the road and blowing out a tire, he never forces her to stay with him, nor does it even seem to occur to him that he could. both parties maintain their free will. So I'm going to leave you with just these three possible ways of engaging with the film's complexity, and I hope you all enjoy In My Room, and thank you so much for your attention.